What's up, fellow tycoons? It's Marquita, aka your brand building bestie, aka the Saucey Tycoon, and I'm here to help you find your vibe. All right, so we're gonna jump right into today's video and discuss how to find your vibe. I'm going to be talking about characteristics that make a superior brand. So we're going to get straight into this, building brands over here. I am so passionate about this because I truly believe that great minds such as ourselves can create great brands and really evolve the business culture that we have here today. As you know, consumerism, commerce has become so predatory and just so predatory to the point where, you know, people are literally not living their best lives because they're trying to make ends meet. But one of the things that really drew me to start my entrepreneurship journey and create my own brand is the fact that I wanted to be the change. I wanted to be the change that I'm not seeing, and create meaningful and thoughtful brands that actually give back to the community, that actually steer humanity forward. So that, I would have to say, is my biggest motivation for why I even started this YouTube channel, because I am looking for like-minded people such as myself who may be on this journey as well and are needing guidance as we see technology and things come into play and things get a little bit more involved and evolved as we move towards the future. So it's something that I just love talking about. And now more than ever, there's just so much opportunity to create your own and be in charge of your own. So if we have like-minded individuals out there creating these different vehicles of change through life-changing, thoughtful, impactful brands, we can definitely change the world. It doesn't have to be like this, you know, it just really doesn't have to be like this. So with that being said, let's get straight into it. All right, we're gonna get into this. I love talking about this stuff because, ooh, I know y'all tired just like I'm tired. I'm definitely tired, okay? We gotta start getting our hands in this pot and creating, all right? All right, find your vibe, build a superior business. Brand. Business is pretty much implied. We're just building upon having a business. If you haven't seen my other video where I talk about the difference between a brand and a business, definitely go check that out. Very valuable information as well. Gives you a leg up on this creation of a brand thing, because once you understand the difference between the two, you're gonna build something that lasts and has a legacy, and that's amazing. We gotta create dope shit, okay? All right, so find your vibe, build a superior brand. So when we talk about find your vibe here at Saucey Tycoon, in the beginning stages of my entrepreneur journey, I was without my vibe, you know? And a lot of times not being in your vibe comes from all of the prior programming from childhood and growing up that was instilled in you, such as just certain beliefs you may have had about money and success, specifically how to obtain those things. And I know for me personally, I've come so far on that journey for sure. You know, believing in yourself can be such a challenge when you are conditioned to see the world through a lens or a perspective that only allows you to see what it is lacking and doesn't give you quite the opportunity to see where things are prime for creation or prime for you to create with. So upon discovering my inner child and really pretty much getting to a point where you get tired of kind of repeating the same cycles as it pertains to like your personal finances, money, or it really could be anything that is tied to our happiness. When you're experiencing less than desired outcomes in your life, you can naturally begin to take steps towards wanting to change that cycle and better yourself. And for me, that was very groundbreaking, just to get to that breaking point. You know, you get to a certain point where you're just like, okay, let's change this. I'm ready to change this. Where do we start? What can we do? And so your journey begins. All right. So finding your vibe and creating a superior brand. One thing that I love about my journey thus far is just being able to have the heart that I have, the compassion that I have, and the passion that I have about this has caused me to slow down in life, because there's a lot of things that I just didn't like and I wanted to change. So it allows me to kind of slow down and reevaluate how I'm contributing to it, how I'm allowing it to affect me, and understanding that, hey, you don't have to accept it. You know, a lot of people are walking around accepting things that they don't really have to accept from the world. And you got to go down that path of reprogramming your mind and really working on cultivating a fresh perspective as it pertains to your outlook on the world and the outlook on the possibilities that can come from playing again, from being creative, from understanding that you have a role in this thing called life. You're not just here to take a back seat. You're not just here to idle by. You can definitely do those things, but personally, from my point of view, from what I've learned about what the human body can do, what the human mind can do, and what it's capable of, it's like you are leaving so much untapped energy and power on the table when you don't grab a hold of the reins and take a bit more control. Take all the control that you're entitled to when it comes to your life. So creating a superior brand is about drawing from that space and infusing it into your very own personal creative gifts, creativity rather, and allowing it to build and manifest itself from your mind into the physical. So having it up here just as an idea or as a vision, and allowing it to cultivate to where it has no choice but to present itself in front of you in the real world. All right. So I say all that to say some things that would set your superior brand apart is keeping service in mind. And let me write up here traits of a superior brand. Okay. And when we talk about you have service in mind, this is all about keeping in mind the people, giving back, helping, contributing to society, contributing to humanity as a whole for the advancement of the whole. Whenever you serve others, you in fact serve yourself. And what I mean by that is A person that continues to work on being a better person, not only benefits that person, that benefits everybody. I believe there's like a saying that you can, along the lines that you can only give out what you have, you can only give out what you have in yourself. So if you are treating yourself with respect, compassion, grace, then you're gonna go and put that out in the world. If you're not treating yourself well, if you just don't care, or you know, you're ruminating in energy or thoughts or just behaviors that are self-destructive, then that's what you're gonna go out and put in the world. So we see examples of that every day. We've all heard the crazy stories, but yeah. But when you keep service in mind, abundance definitely flows. This creates an ecosystem of sorts. And this just goes again to putting out good energy. Oh man. Uh-oh. Okay, thought I broke my top there for a second. Some additional things. I'm gonna say aesthetics. Oh Lord, hopefully I spell this word right. I think I might butcher this one. I used to actually be a very good speller in elementary and middle school. But now that I'm like a super adult, I'm like, wait, how do you spell that again? And not just like recognizable, I'm gonna say recognizable aesthetics or unique aesthetics. Maybe that's, yeah, we'll go with unique aesthetics. Hopefully I spelled that word right. And what else did I put on here? I knew I was gonna forget some stuff, but here we go. We'll get it together. Innovative. So that just means always looking to improve. A lot of times in the current business culture, you kind of see where it becomes to be profit, or it's pretty much always profit over the people. And what else, whatever, however companies can get by with doing the least and getting the most money, they're gonna do it. And if they can stave off improving things, and so they don't have to spend the money to improve things and do better, they're not gonna do it. And you know, there's some companies that do, but there's like I said in a different video, there's just way too many companies that just are not doing what they should be doing when it comes to bettering our world. And that's why we're here today. So you and I can do it with our brands, all right? All right, a superior brand has quality standards. Okay, you're not just out here putting out anything just to make a profit. You really care about what it is that you produce, and you put effort into making sure that it's something very conducive and conducive to, shit. I just realized what I did there. You produce things that make sense. We'll just say that. You produce things that make sense. Holistically, on a holistic scale and not just on a commerce scale. A superior brand has effective customer service. We'll say effective customer service. I think that explains it well. But we all can probably think to a time where we received bad customer service and to a time where we received great customer service. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory. You want to do right by people, you know? Engaging. I've noticed that there are a lot of brands, they get so big they stop really being engaging. And depending on what the brand is actually about, that can be okay, but sometimes it can kind of suck. All right. But you want to engage with your people. You want to let your people know that you care and that you appreciate them participating and buying your products or services, and that you care about feedback and improving. So that kind of goes back to like being innovative. When you're engaging, you're actively getting to know and understand your customer, and that in the end, that's going to help you, because you're going to continue to produce things that help your customers, whether it's helping them in a solution-based manner or just helping them in a life, fulfill something lifestyle-wise, that's helping them better their quality of life, excuse me. Organized. A superior brand knows what they're doing. You're not going to be all over the place. You're not going to be half-assing it. We're going to have some decorum. We're going to have some professionalism, but we're also going to be authentically ourselves. We're going to understand what our mission is, what we're here to accomplish, and what we're creating as far as a legacy. But being organized is definitely, I've seen a lot of disorganization in my day when it comes to businesses. So yeah, definitely make sure you're organized. Value driven. I didn't think I was going to run out of space for these, but so value driven. A superior brand is always looking on how can we improve as a brand and give more value to our customers, to our communities that we cultivate. How can we continue to support our community and customers? So it's not always about taking from your community or taking from your customers. You're not just always about selling a product. You're not always just about the profit. It's more of like a symbiotic relationship, So it's like, a constant cycle between you my little illustration there, but you get what I'm trying to do here. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let me see. Yeah, okay. So I'll just bring it a little higher here. But yeah, you know, it's basically just a cycle. Everybody's giving. We're all giving here. Right, and then the last thing I'm gonna put here is collaborative. So superior brand is collaborative. Allow your community and customers to have some input on what it is that you're doing with the brand. That making them feel involved, giving them a role to play, so to speak, in what you're building creates a stronger community, holds you accountable as a brand. That's something that a lot of businesses and brands run from. Nobody wants to be held accountable for anything these days, you know, or they want to like block out the accountability rather. But and I think that's not talked about enough. But yeah, you know, be collaborative, you know, make people feel connected and involved, give them a say. It can only continue to help when you're building your brand, okay? And it can be very fun for everyone involved and eye-opening and just impactful, okay? So once again, traits of a superior brand. You have service in mind. When you have service in mind, abundance flows. Got unique aesthetics. You're innovative. You have quality standards. You have effective customer service. I missed the whole word here. Gotta get it together. You're engaging, you're organized, you're value-driven, and you're collaborative. All right. And just in case, I didn't really talk about quality standards, but of course, you want to produce things that are cohesive and actually work, and you're not out here trying to produce things that are degenerative to society. You want to have quality standards and that good stuff. Unique aesthetics, as far as like unique aesthetics, you want to stand out. You want to think outside the box as much as you possibly can. You want to be authentic as you possibly can. You want to be a trailblazer as well. You know, those are things you kind of want to look at when it comes to having unique aesthetics, okay? So I hope you took notes of those traits. So we are going to move on. And explore further how you find your vibe. So those things, those traits, I listed those so that you can kind of take notes of that and start to get some gears running in your mind about what your brand is going to be looking like and what traits that you really resonate with that you can incorporate into your brand, okay? Now, so the next step after you figure out what it is what the traits are that you're going to incorporate into your brand, now it's about, again, you're going to need to start finding your vibe. And so you're going to start paying attention to, okay, brand marketing. And this is where visualization is going to start coming in. What's your overall big picture. Okay. And as far as what would be included in your big picture, so we're talking about overall perception. What are you wanting to project out into the world? Like, what are you, I can't believe I'm using this reference. I do not have an iPhone, but what are you trying to airdrop into the world? You know, whatever, when you start ruminating up here with your visualization and you're thinking upon your big picture and overall perception, what is it that you're trying to airdrop from your mind to see in the actual physical world? Not just you yourself, but the people that are gonna be the ones perceiving you, your tailored community, your tailored customers, okay? And what's helpful is this helps to spark ideas, because you're going to come across an inspirational moment, an emotional moment, we'll say vision. You're gonna get like a light bulb, so to speak, but that's like inspirational and emotional vision. The light bulb goes off. All right, so that would be like your first step of sorts, okay? And so once you have this going and you got your overall perception, then we want to start pulling certain things from this overall perception, this vision, this big picture that you have. And we're gonna start attributing some different, why do I keep erasing shit with my hands? We're gonna start attributing that to some characteristics or some. Okay, I do apologize, you guys. I ran out of battery, so the camera shut off, but thankfully I caught it within like a couple of minutes. So I'm gonna pick back up where I left off. All right. So basically, where was I at? Okay, so I was getting ready to get into the foundational pillars, okay? So from step one, which is visualizing your big picture and your overall perception, which will give you inspiration and a very inspirational and emotional vision, and light bulbs start to go off. Then from the light bulbs going off, you're gonna start getting inspiration, or direction rather, for your foundational pillars. So as far as what I mean by foundational pillars, these are things such as the lifestyle, philosophy, your product, service, and we'll say solution or solution, because I don't know, whatever you have created, maybe it doesn't fit quite into a product or service, or maybe it's just, you know, just a little bit different. Try to utilize some of this space over here. Goodness gracious. Oh, let me grab my notes real quick. I want to make sure I don't miss anything for you guys. I want to make sure y'all get every morsel. All right, so experience, culture, and innovation. And I feel like probably need to add mission up here as well, so okay. All right, so again, the information that I talk about in my videos, a lot of it will be stuff that I have put into my products and services on my website, whether it's ebooks, DIY bundles, etc., consulting, etc. So I definitely would go and take a look at the website when you get a chance and see if there is anything there that can assist you on your journey in building a superior brand. Okay, so when you're starting off, you've done the first step, and you're gonna move into the second step, which is laying down your foundational pillars. Foundational pillars are extremely important when you're building a brand because it's gonna give you clarity and direction, and you want to be organized. We talked about previously traits of a superior brand. So this helps to keep you focused, organized, have clarity. When you're serious about changing the world, gotta do it just like the big dogs do it. You know, they're not the only ones that got a brain and can put some shit together. You can do it as well. I know that we kind of tend to look at some of these brands or businesses like they're just larger than life, and the only thing that separates us from them is just one, not necessarily the information, because the information is out there more and more these days, but it's access. You know, it's access to the current structures, the current system that allows them to thrive in the manner that they thrive. You know, a lot of the companies that we see were the first builders, the first creators, you know, and they've created a monopoly, and our role, our purpose is to break that structure down. I was gonna say something else, but well, I'm not gonna say that, but yeah. So our job is to be disruptors. That's the word I'm looking for. Our job is to be disruptors, and this is how you do it. You learn the game and you beat them at it, and we do it in a way that that involves authenticity, realness, you know. All right, so foundational pillars, lifestyle, the type of lifestyle that you want to be associated with your brand, the lifestyle that you want to share with the world, and you want to connect with your community through. Philosophy, so these are things like your brand's philosophy would be things that are a combination of beliefs. Probably a lot of it is like certain personal beliefs, but tied into, how can I word this? It's kind of tied into your lifestyle too, but like philosophy is like a set of beliefs. We'll just put it like that, a set of beliefs that aligns with your brand. And this is all stuff that you create, and it's gonna come from, again, step one, which is visualizing your big picture, which leads you to an overall perception that fuels inspirational and emotional visions and makes your light bulbs go off, okay? All right, so then you have your product, service, or your solution. So again, going back to visualization, now we have to begin to produce. We gotta start producing our product, service, or solution that's in alignment with our overall vision, and also interjects the traits of being service-minded. So product, services, or solutions it's a big important one, because that's really, at the end of the day, all we're doing is we're wanting to fix things in our own way. You know, we're wanting to put our chips in the pot. You know, we want to lessen the suffering in many different areas and ways. So you can do that by creating a product, service, or a solution, and begin to contribute to humanity in an impactful way. All right. Okay. Another foundational pillar is the experience that you want to create, how you want to be remembered, what do you want to be known for, and that is tied to your inspirational, emotional vision. How do you feel when you think about what you're creating? How do you feel about the product, service, or solution that you're providing? And how is your community or your customer going to receive it? How is it going to make them feel? What is it going to help them to solve? What problem is it going to help them solve in their life? How is it going to improve their quality of life? Those types of things. How can you add to that experience for them in an impactful way? Through what experiences can you help to do that? Then you have culture. So your culture includes things like camaraderie, events, the value that is provided through what you create, product, service, or solution. Okay. Innovation. Again, your product, service, or solution. How are you able to bring innovation with what you're producing? What ways can you bring in innovation for what you're producing? Again, drawing from your inspirational, emotional vision that makes the light bulbs go off. Okay. And then your mission. This is where we pull everything: lifestyle, philosophy, your product, service, or solution, innovation, culture, and experience, and we devise our mission. Once we define these, then we make a declaration of how we are dedicated, or we make a declaration of, that's I said that right. Sometimes I throw myself off when I talk because I think faster than I can talk. But we take all of these things, and we cultivate it into a declarative mission. And this allows people to resonate, connect with what you visualize, because as much as we are different, we all are the same. That's why you have certain groups of people, certain communities that mesh very well together. At the end of the day, we have to remember that, we're all human. We all have our own challenges that we go through, but there's no challenges that you've gone through as a person that someone else probably has not gone through themselves. So it's a great thing when we can get in this place of visualization, and it ends up in turn helping us generate a superior brand. And before you know it, we're creating a product, service, or solution to help serve the needs of a community and our customers. And we're doing it in a way that's, authentic, that's compassionate, that's ethical. You know what I'm saying? And we need to see more of that type of change in the world. So again, that is why I am so, that's why I'm about to lose it here. This is why I emphasize, there we go. That is why I emphasize the word superior, because I really feel like, or I know that what we're doing here at Saucey Tycoon, the manner in which I'm talking about building a brand, is superior. I don't hear enough. I'm not saying there's nobody out here thinking like me. Of course, we're out here. Trust me. That's why you're here. But a lot of people are starting brands for the sake of just starting brands, and they don't have these foundational pillars. They're not thinking about this, But if you think about this and you get this infused into your brand, it's going to be so much more successful and impactful, okay? Because you're taking the time out to really explore and connect and ignite a powerful energy within you that you have to be able to take something from your mind and airdrop it into the world. And have other people who say, hey, that's cool, that's pretty dope, It's a great thing to just reflect on. I love reflecting on this stuff. Okay, so not to get too long-winded on you guys. All right. So then, hopefully you got this down. All right, take notes. Classes in session. All right. So visualization, foundational pillars. And then once you get that, now we can go on to the third step. I need to move this over. Oh, excuse me. Now we can actually get into your branding. Okay. All right, so I actually like how I broke this down. I wasn't sure how I was gonna go into this Because one thing about me is I like to keep stuff as simple as possible. I try to be as clear as concise in my communication when I'm talking about these things, because I just want to present it in a way that hopefully gets you to look at this in such a different light, meaning looking at it as something bigger than just a vehicle for obtaining success in a financial way. Like, this groundwork that you do here will do nothing but even further the generation of abundance. It's going to pretty much guarantee that abundance, and that it continues to flow in for you. Okay. All right. So we finally get into the meat of it all with branding. Okay. And all steps 1 through 3, this is all falling under brand marketing. So that is like the entire process. It's involved. It's probably not what you're typically gonna see other creators say, or it's probably how you're not going to see typically other creators explain it. They're probably going to give you the very, very practical version of like brand marketing and stuff. But I like to infuse it, or not infuse it, I'm sorry. I like to explain it in the way, or present it in a way rather, that is more along the lines of like a creative process. I'm basically relaying it how I went through it, if that makes sense. And for me as a person, I do have a very imaginative spirit. So I try to explain to the best of my ability. I try to take that spiritual creative process and turn it into a practical explanation, something that you can take instruction on and go out and execute for yourself. If you're like one of those types of people that have kind of a tough time putting together concept strategies or like roadmaps in a sense, not everybody has the time to really sit down and figure this stuff out. So this is why I'm here, helping you guys figure out how to get from point A to point B to point C. All right, moving on. Okay, so we actually get into the actual branding part of it now. So once you've done the first 2 steps and we get to branding, we're gonna start getting into a bit more specific things. And this is gonna be solely focusing on the marketing portion now. So we're still building up our brand, but now our brand has to become a vehicle, or maybe a person, a hypothetical person would be the better explanation here. So you're going to give it a voice, a vision, and a mission. You're gonna start, or you're gonna implement some type of content. You're going to need to facilitate the creation of assets, and I will go back around and go just a little bit into these in just a second. Voice, vision, mission, content, assets. Check my notes really fast. your audience. Oh, that looks horrible. Your identity. I think there should be like maybe one or two more things. All right, just 1 second, guys. I'm always afraid that I'm gonna leave something out, but then I check my notes and I'm like, okay, I got everything. But I'd rather take a minute to just check than to realize when I'm editing the video that, oh snap, I forgot something. Okay, so yeah, awesome. So I didn't forget anything. All right, so I'm gonna go through these really quick. So when we start getting into the actual branding, we'll say and marketing. Sorry, I should have definitely wrote this up here to begin with. All right, so we get into the actual details now. All right, so we get into the details of the branding and marketing. So voice, vision, mission. So voice, vision, mission. Your voice is basically the tone and personality of your brand. You want to figure out, okay, how can you best convey your messages when you're speaking with your community and your customer. So an example of like a voice or tone would basically be like when you create any type of correspondence or communication, are you professional? Like, are you like a teacher, like a professional teacher? Are you just like a close friend? Are you speaking in the tone of like a uncle or a sassy aunt or an old man, or you know, a college student? You know, you got to really start to build like a persona for your brand. So that is the voice, and that's going to become a vehicle for helping you down the line when we talk about this next topic here in a second, and I'll get further into that. Okay, and then your vision. So we did talk about that previously in step 2 with the foundational pillars. Okay, so cultivating a vision, what it is that you see as far as the legacy for your brand, and you want to get that into a clarified statement. And the same thing with your mission, like we talked about in the foundational pillars. So go make sure you rewind this video if you didn't write it down, but definitely go take a look at the first 2 steps. The second step is the one that we listed out all of the foundational pillars, and that is what you use to cultivate a clarified vision statement and then a clarified mission statement. And maybe I might do an example of these in a different video, because I feel like this is something definitely important to have when you're building your brand. Most people do not write any type of vision or mission statements. And I think it's important to have these things so that, again, you have a clarified vision, a clarified mission, but you know where you're going, where you're headed, why you're doing what you're doing. And that's going to be your anchor in the journey, so that when you're running into obstacles and challenges, that you're just not so quick to give up. It gives you, I can't stress enough that having foundational pillars, it really is going to give you that drive and that motivation to see it through. Because you'll feel like, man, I'm really building something here. This is really like, you will see rather the effects of what a vision and mission statement can do for you. When you have these written down and you can go back and refer to them, it's like it gives like a level of legitimacy and also a level of accountability as well, because you'll be more inclined to say, you know, yeah, this is what I'm building, and I'm going to continue to move forward. Like, you see actual progress. If you just have everything up here, you can easily dismiss it. But when you're actively, physically seeing things on paper and written down, it's like a whole different ball game. It's like, oh shit, we're really doing this. And yes, you're really doing it. Okay. So next we have content. So your voice is going to aid in your content. And so you have different types of content, which basically is going to be your different ways or your different avenues, tools that you can use to start to reach out and connect with your audience / community / customer. Excuse me. So you have different types of content, which can be emails, articles, images, audio, documents, videos, I believe that should be it. Emails, articles, images, audio, documents, videos. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. So content is definitely something that I suggest figuring out where you're best suited as far as which one of these aligns with your product, service, or solution that you're providing. All right, so we're gonna move on. I'm not gonna go more in depth into this. Again, my ebook, Intro to Brand Building, is a free resource. It goes a little bit more in depth, and so does my book, Stop Fix Your Marketing Now. Also goes more in depth with all of these things. All right, so next we're gonna move on to assets. So when we talk about assets, so these are gonna be things like, let's see, how can I word this? So this is gonna be like your platforms, systems, that could be like your social media, your tools, anything that's going to be able to, that you're going to be able to use to help you with your content and help facilitate your overall process of building your brand. Then you have your audience. And these are going to be your community / customers. These are people that align with your brand. And if you need help figuring out who your audience is, again, download the Intro to Brand Building, and it'll tell you exactly how you find people for your community and who are going to be your customers. And then next we have identity. So this would be, or this is, excuse me, the face of your brand. The physical aspects, the visual aspects, excuse me. And then that's gonna be abstract. That can be abstract and tangible when it comes to your identity. Your identity can be tangible things as well as abstract things that make up the face of your brand. The things that people are gonna be able to visually see, to physically hold. Okay. All right, so I think we can go ahead and wrap this video up there. Once again, I want to reiterate that this video is about being able to approach building a superior brand with a I'm having trouble finding the right word for what I'm trying to describe here. Let me erase this so I could. Okay. Let me put this back up here for you guys. I wanted to break this down in a way that doesn't make you feel overwhelmed. And basically, if someone were to ask me, okay, how do you build a superior brand? What makes it different from just a regular brand or business? And I could only pick 3 things. This is what they would be. This is what it would be in summation. And this is just like the super like condensed version for time's sake. If I was to truly try to go into everything, this video would be super duper long, and we're already at almost 40 minutes, I believe. So this is going to be a pretty lengthy video, but again, this is very, very needed information. This is things definitely that I wish I would have had when I started my journey. If I would have known how to approach the task of creating a brand, and somebody were able to break it down to me in this manner, it would have saved me so much freaking time. Okay, so visualization, foundational pillars. Oh my gosh, what was the last one? What was number 3? I just had it in my freaking head. And that's what happens when you talk too much. Visualization, foundational pillars. Come back to me, come back to me. I'm drawing a blank. Hold on. Gotta focus on my recall real quick. Give me a second, y'all. Visualization, foundational pillars. Oh my Lord. Okay. Sorry about that, you guys. I've recorded a couple of videos today. Okay, all right. Forgive me, sorry about that. A brain fart, and it was right in my face. Okay, so visualization, foundational pillars, branding, and marketing, okay? And all the things that we discussed today were pertinent building blocks of building a superior brand. That is the Tycoon way. The word tycoon is not part of this channel by happenstance, part of my brand by happenstance. If you don't know what a tycoon is, I encourage you to go look up the definition of tycoon yourself. And I want you to look it up, and I want to tell me how it relates to you and what that means to you. You put it in your own words, like the type of tycoon that you are. So that is my request for you. So once again, Marquita, your brand building bestie, signing off, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.